ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ %.
ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे द्रविणञ्च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रञ्च मे सूश्च मे प्रसूश्च मे सीरञ्च मे लयश्च मर्दञ्च मे यक्ष्मञ्च मे नामयश्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वञ्च मे नमित्रञ्च मे भयञ्च मे सुखञ्च मे शयनञ्च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनञ्च मे। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय। नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यवपुतो तैषवे नमः। नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुदते नमः। या तैषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते तनुः। शिवा शरव्या या तव तया नो रुद्रमृडय। या ते रुद्र शिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी। तया नस्तनुवा शन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिजाकषीः। यामिषं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ह्यस्तवे। शिवां गिरित्रतां गुरुमाहिगुंसे पुरुषं जगत्। शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्चावदामसि। यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत्। अर्ध्यवोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो दैव्यो विषग। अहीगश्च सर्वाञ्जं वयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः। असौ यः साम्रो अरुणभुत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः। ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षु श्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशाखुं एडयीमहे। असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः। उदैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः। उदैनं विश्वाभूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः। नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीडुषे। अतो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो गरन्नमः। प्रमुञ्चतन्वनस्त्वमुभयोराग्नियोर्ज्याम्। याश्च ते हस्तैषवः पराता भगवो वप। अवतत्यधनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षसतेषु ते। निशीर्य तुल्यानां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव। विज्यन्तनुर्कवर्तिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत। अनेशन्नस्येष महापुरस्य निषङ्गतिः। या देहेतिर्मीडुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः। तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुज। नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नाथताय धृष्णवे। उभाभ्यामुदते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने। परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः। अतो यक्षुधिः सवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम्। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशां च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्य पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्वषीमते पतीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय विव्याधिनेनानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशाय पपीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथाभिने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय अन्त्याय पतये नमो नमो पुहितायस्तपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये परिवृतायौषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृष्णवीताय पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिने स्तेनानां पतये नमो नमो इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूणां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिगागुं सद्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमो शिवभ्यो नक्चञ्चलत्य प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः उष्णीशिरे गिरिजराय कुलञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः युषुमद्यो तन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वाणेभ्यः प्रतिददानेभ्यश्च वो नमः आयच्छद्यो विसृजद्यश्च वो नमो नमो स्यद्यो विद्यद्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठभ्यो दावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमः व्याधिनेभ्यो विविद्यन्तेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः उगणाभ्यस्त्रिगुंहतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो कृत्सेभ्यो कृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः शत्रुभ्यः संग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यो वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्ठेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः शिशुकृभ्यो तन्वकृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वणिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः विश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपत्तिने च युक्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतदण्डने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च मीलुष्टमाय च सुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च वृद्धाय च संवृद्ध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे चागिराय च नमः शीघ्राय च शीघ्राय च नमः ऊर्व्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः श्रोतस्याय च प्रीत्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय च वकल्पाय च जगन्याय च बुद्ध्याय च नमः सोऽध्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः पूर्वजाय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय च अवसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय च नमः शूराय चावविन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरोधिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च अनन्याय च नमो दृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रगिताय च विशङ्गिने च श्रुतिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णेशवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पत्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूर्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वट्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईर्ध्याय च तप्याय च नमो वाक्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो कव्याय च वास्तुवाय च नमस्सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च अरुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्काराय नमः शम्भवे च मयोभवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्त्याय च गोल्याय च नमः याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आचार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः च भेन्याय च नमः सिगत्याय च प्रवाक्याय च नमः हिरण्याय च प्रपद्याय च नमः किजुंशिलाय च क्षयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च वत्सल्याय च गेह्याय च नमः कार्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेष्ट्याय च नमः पुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुक्याय च हरिर्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः ऊर्म्याय च सूर्म्याय च नमः पर्याय च पर्णसद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय च विघ्नते च नमः किदते च प्रह्यदते च नमो वक्किरिकेभ्यो नागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो वृक्षीनकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नमः आणिर्हतेभ्यो मीवक्केभ्यः द्रावे अन्धसस्पदे दरिद्रं नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणामेषां पशूनां मा वेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनावमत् या ते रुद्र शिवा तनो शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो मृडजीवसे इमागं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभरामगे मतिम् यथा नश्यमसद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्नणातुरम् मृडाणो रुद्रो तनो मयस्कृतिक्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते योश्च मनुरायते पिता तदश्याम तव रुद्र प्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुदमानो अर्भगं मानवुक्षन्तमुदमानवुक्षितम् मानो वधे पितरं मोदमातरं प्रियामाणस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोके तनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषुमानो अश्वेषरीरिषः धीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्ते गोग्नहुतपूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मे ते अस्तु रक्षा च अधि च देव ब्रोह्यता च नः शर्म यच्चद्विबर्हाः स्तुभिश्रुतं कर्तसतं युवाणं मृगन्न भीममुपहत्नुमुग्रम् मृडाजरिद्रे रुद्रस्तवाणो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतिर्वृणक्तु परित्वेषस्य दुर्मतिरगायोः अवस्थिरामगवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमेष्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडय मीडुष्टमशिवदमशिवोणः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृत्तिं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदाकति विकिरितविलोकित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीनामुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्याम् तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वदन्वाणि दन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेर्दर्क्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाश्चितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाश्चितिकण्ठादिमगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्मिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोकिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासक्कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविद्यन्ति पात्रेषु विपदो जनान् ये पदाम्पतिरक्षय ऐलवृतायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति श्रिकावन्तो निषङ्गिनः य एतावन्तस्य भूयागुंसस्य दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वदन्वाणि दन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां ये अन्तरिक्षे ये दिव्येषां वातो वर्षमिषहस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचेर्दश दक्षिणादश प्रतीचेर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु ते यन्द्विष्मायश्च नोद्वेष्टितं भोजं वेददामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु य ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु तमुष्टु यस्विषस्तु धन्वायो विश्वस्य क्षयति वेषजस्य यक्ष्वामहेसौ मनसाय रुद्रं नमो देवमसुरुन्दवस्य अयं मे हस्तो भगवान् अयं मे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्ववेषजो यगुं शिवाभिमर्शनः ये ते सहस्रमयुतं भाषा मृत्योमर्त्याय हन्तवे तानि यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तः येनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि सदाशिवम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अग्ना विष्णो सजोषसे मा वर्धन्तु वाङ्गिरः द्युम्नैर्वाजेभिरागतम् वाजश्च मे प्रसवश्च मे प्रयतिश्च मे प्रसिद्धिश्च मे धीतिश्च मे क्रतुश्च मे स्वरश्च मे श्लोकश्च मे श्रावश्च मे श्रुतिश्च मे ज्योतिश्च मे सुवश्च मे प्राणश्च मे बाणश्च मे व्यानश्च मे सुश्च मे चित्तश्च महाधीतञ्च मे वाक्च मे मनश्च मे चक्षुश्च मे श्रोत्रञ्च मे दक्षश्च मे बलञ्च ओजश्च मे सहश्च आयुश्च मे जरा च आत्मा च मे तनूश्च मे शर्म च मे वर्म च मे गानि च मे स्थानि च मे परुगुंषि च मे शरीराणि च मे ज्येष्ठ्यं च महाधिपत्यं च मे मन्युश्च मे भामश्च मे मश्च मे म्भश्च मे जेमा च मे महिमा च मे वरिमा च मे प्रतिमा च मे वर्ष्मा च मे द्रागुया च मे वृद्धं च मे वृद्धिश्च मे सत्यं च मे श्रद्धश्च मे जगच्च मे धनं च मे वशश्च मे त्वषिश्च मे क्रीडा च मे मोदश्च मे जातं च मे जरिष्यमाणं च मे सुकृतं च मे सुकृतं च मे वित्तं च मे वेद्यं च मे भूतं च मे भविष्यच्च मे सुगं च मे सुपदं च मरुद्धं च मरुद्धिश्च मे क्लुद्धं च मे क्लुद्धिश्च मे मतिश्च मे सुमतिश्च मे शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियं च मे न कामश्च मे कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रं च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणं च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वं च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रं च मे सूश्च मे प्रसूश्च मे सीरं च मे लयश्च मृतं च मे व्रतं च मे यक्ष्मं च मे नामयश्च मे जीवातु च मे दीर्घायुत्वं च मे मित्रं च मे भयं च मे सुखं च मे शयनं च मे सोषा च मे सुदिनं च मे ऊर्च मे सोनृता च मे पयश्च मे रसश्च मे घृतं च मे मधु च मे शक्तिश्च मे सपीतिश्च मे वृष्टिश्च मे चैत्रं च महौद्भिद्यं च मे रयिश्च मे रायश्च मे पुष्टं च मे पुष्टिश्च मे विभु च मे प्रभु च मे बहु च मे भूयश्च मे पूर्णं च मे पूर्णधरं च मे क्षितिश्च मे कूयवाश्च मे नं च मे क्षुच्च मे गयश्च मे यवाश्च मे माशाश्च मे तिलाश्च मे मुद्गाश्च मे कल्पाश्च मे भूताश्च मे मधुराश्च मे प्रियङ्गवश्च मे नवश्च मे श्यामागाश्च मे नीवाराश्च मे अश्मा च मे मृत्तिका च मे गिरिजश्च मे पर्वताश्च मे सिकताश्च मे वनस्पतयश्च मे हिरण्यं च मे यश्च मे च मे द्रवश्च मे श्यामं च मे लोहं च मे अग्निश्च महापश्च मे ओषधयश्च मे कृष्णपत्यं च मे कृष्णपत्यं च मे ग्राम्याश्च मे पशवन्याश्च कल्पतां प्राणो च मे भूतिश्च मे वसु च मे वसतिश्च मे कर्म च मे शक्तिश्च मे अर्थश्च मयेमश्च मयितिश्च मे गतिश्च मे अग्निश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे सोमश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे सविता च मयिन्द्रश्च मे सरस्वती च मयिन्द्रश्च मे पूषा च मयिन्द्रश्च मे बृहस्पतिश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे मित्रश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे वरुणश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे त्वष्टा च मयिन्द्रश्च मे दाता च मयिन्द्रश्च मे विष्णुश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मेऽश्विनौ च मयिन्द्रश्च मे मरुतश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे विश्वे च मे देवा इन्द्रश्च मे पृथिवी च मयिन्द्रश्च मे अन्तरिक्षं च मयिन्द्रश्च मे द्यौश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे दिशश्च मे इन्द्रश्च मे मूर्धा च मयिन्द्रश्च मे प्रजापतिश्च मयिन्द्रश्च मे अगुंशुश्च मे रश्मिश्च मे दाभ्यश्च मे धिपतिश्च मौभागुंशुश्च मे दर्याश्च मे यवश्च मे मैत्रा वरुणश्च महाश्विनश्च मे प्रतिप्रस्थानश्च मे शुक्रश्च मे मन्ती च महाग्रयणश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे ध्रुवश्च मे वैश्वानरश्च मरुतग्रहाश्च मे दिग्राह्याश्च महेन्द्राग्नश्च मे वैश्वदेवश्च मे मरुत्वतीयाश्च मे माहेन्द्रश्च आदित्यश्च मे सावित्रश्च मे सारस्वतश्च मे पौष्णश्च मे पार्थिवतश्च मे कार्योजनश्च मे युग्मश्च मे बर्हिश्च मे वेदिश्च मे धिष्णियाश्च मे शुचश्च मे युग्मश्च मे बर्हिश्च मे वेदिश्च मे धिष्णियाश्च मे शुचश्च मे जवसाश्च मे प्राणावश्च मे स्वरवश्च मौपरवाश्च मे दृषवणे च मे द्रोणकलशश्च मे वायव्यानि च मे भूतभृच्च महाधवनीयश्च आग्नेयेन्द्रं च मे हविर्धानं च मे गृहाश्च मे सदश्च मे पुरोडाशाश्च मे पशताश्च मे वभृतश्च मे स्वगाकारश्च मे अग्निश्च मे घर्मश्च मे अर्कश्च मे सूर्यश्च मे प्राणश्च मे श्वमेधश्च मे पृथिवी च मे दितिश्च मे द्यौश्च मे शक्परीरङ्गुलयोदिशश्च मे यज्ञेन कल्पन्तामृक्ष मे साम च मे स्तोमश्च मे यजुश्च मे क्षा च मे तपश्च मे ऋतुश्च मे व्रतश्च मे होरात्रयोर्भृष्ट्या बृहद्रतन्त्रे च मे यज्ञेन कल्पेताम् गर्भाश्च मे वत्साश्च मे द्रविश्च मे द्रवी च मे दित्यवाच्च मे दित्यौगी च मे पञ्चावी च मे त्रिवत्सश्च मे त्रिवत्सा च मे दुर्यवाच्च मे दुर्यौगी च मे पट्टवाच्च मे ही च उक्षा च मे वशा च मे ऋषभश्च मे वेगञ्च मे नड्वाच्च मे धेनुश्च आयुर्यज्ञेन कल्पतां प्राणो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् अपानो यज्ञेन कल्पतां ज्ञानो यज्ञेन कल्पतां चक्षुर्यज्ञेन कल्पतां श्रोत्रं यज्ञेन कल्पतां मनो यज्ञेन कल्पतां वाग् यज्ञेन कल्पताम् आत्मा यज्ञेन कल्पतां यज्ञो यज्ञेन कल्पताम् एका च मे तिस्रश्च मे पञ्च च मे सप्त च मे नव च मे एकादश च मे त्रयोदश च मे पञ्चदश च मे सप्तदश च मे नवदश च मे एकविंशतिश्च मे त्रयोविंशतिश्च मे पञ्चविंशतिश्च मे सप्तविंशतिश्च मे नवविंशतिश्च मे त्रिविंशतिश्च मे त्रयस्त्रिविंशतिश्च मे चतस्रश्च मे अष्टौ च मे द्वादश च मे षोडश च मे विंशतिश्च मे चतुर्विंशतिश्च मे अष्टाविंशतिश्च मे द्वात्रिंशच्च मे षट्त्रिंशच्च मे चत्वारिंशच्च मे चत्वारिंशच्च मे अष्टाचत्वारिंशच्च मे वाजश्च प्रसवश्च बीजश्च क्रतुश्च सुमश्च मूर्धा च यश्चान्त्यायनश्चान्त्यश्च भुवनश्च भुवनश्चाधिपतिश्च इडापिडादेवघोर्मणुर्यज्ञनेर्बृहस्पतिरुक्तामदानिषगुंसषद्विश्वे देवासोक्तवाच प्रतिविमातर्हिगुंसेर्मधुमनिष्ये मधुजनिष्ये मधुवक्ष्यामि मधुवदिष्यामि मधुमतीन् देवेभ्यो वाचमुद्यासगं शुश्रूषेण्यां मनुष्येभ्यस्तं मा देवा अवन्तु शोभायै पितरोर्नुमदन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् स भूमिं विश्वतो कृत्वा अद्य तिष्ठति दशाङ्गुलम् पुरुष एवेदकं सर्वम् यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम् उदामृतत्वस्येषाणः यदन्नेनाधिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा अतोऽध्यायागश्च पूरुषः पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादोऽर्ध्व उदैत्पुरुषः पादोऽस्येहा भवात् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् साषादशनेऽपि तस्मात् विराट जायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स जातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चाद्भूमिमतो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत वसन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यम् ग्रीष्म युध्मः शरद्रविः सप्तास्यासन् परितयः त्रिसप्तसमितः कृताः देवा यज्ञन्तं बाणाः अवध्नन् पुरुषन् पशुं तं यज्ञं बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषं जातमग्रतः तेन देवा अयजन्त साध्या ऋषयश्च ये तस्मात् यज्ञात् सर्वभूतः संवृतं वृषधाज्यं पशुगस्तागश्चक्रे वायव्यान् आरण्यान् ग्राम्याश्च ये तस्मात् यज्ञात् सर्वभूतः ऋचसामाणि जज्ञिरे छन्दागुंसि जज्ञिरे तस्मात् यजुस्तस्मादजायत तस्मादश्वा अजायन्त ये केशोपयादतः गावो हजज्ञिरे तस्मात् जाता अजावयः यत्पुरुषं यददुः कविदाव्यकल्पयन् मुखं किमस्य गौ बाहू कापूरूपाता उच्येते ब्राह्मणोऽस्य मुखमासीत् बाहूराजन्यः कृतः ऊरो ददस्य यद्वैश्यः पद्भ्यागुं शूद्रो अजायत चन्द्रमा मनसो जातः चक्षुः सूर्यो अजायत मुखादिन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च प्राणात् वायुरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षं शीर्ष्णोद्यौ समवर्तत पद्भ्यां भूमिर्दिशः श्रोत्रात् तथा लोकागुम् अकल्पयन् वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसस्तु पारे सर्वाणि रूपाणि विचित्य धीरः नामानि कृत्वा विवदनयदास्ते दाता पुरस्ताद्यमुदा जहार शक्रः प्रविद्वान् प्रदिशश्चतस्रः तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इव भवति नान्यः पन्था अयनाय विद्यते यज्ञेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवाः तानि धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् ते हनाकं महिमानः सजन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः अभ्यः सम्भूतः पृथिव्यैरसाच्च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्ततादि तस्य त्वष्टा विदधद्रूपमेति तत्पुरुषस्य विश्वमाजानमग्रे वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसस्परस्तात् तमेवं विद्वान् अमृत इव भवति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते यनाय प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे अन्तः अजायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीरा परिजानन्ति योनिम् मरीचीनां पदमिच्छन्ति वेदसः यो देवेभ्यः तपति यो देवानां पुरोहितः पूर्वो यो देवेभ्यो जातः नमो ऋचाय ब्राह्मये ऋचं ब्राह्मं जनयन्तः देवा अग्रे तदब्रुवन् यस्त्वैवं ब्राह्मणो विद्यात् तस्य देवा असन्वशे क्रीश्यते लक्ष्मीस्य पत्न्यौ अहोरात्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपम् अश्विनौ व्यात्तम् इष्टं मणिषाण अमुं मणिषाण सर्वं मणिषाण सहस्रशीर्षं देवं विश्वाक्षं विश्वशम्भुवं विश्वं नारायणं देवमक्षरं परमं पदम् विश्वतः परमान् नित्यं विश्वं नारायणगुं हरिं विश्वमेवेदं पुरुषस्तद्विश्वमुपजीवति पतिं विश्वस्यात्मेश्वरगुं शाश्वतगुं शिवमच्युतं नारायणं महाज्ञेयं विश्वात्मानं परायणं नारायणपरो ज्योतिरात्मा नारायणः परः नारायणपरं ब्रह्म तत्त्वं नारायणः परः नारायणपरो ध्याता ध्यानं नारायणः परः यच्च किञ्चित् जगत् सर्वं दृश्यते श्रूयतेऽपि वा अन्तर्बहिश्च तत्सर्वं व्याप्य नारायणः स्थितः अनन्तमव्ययं कविकुं समुद्रेऽन्तं विश्वशम्भुवं पद्मकोशप्रतीकाशकं हृदयं चाप्यधोमुखम् अधो निष्ठ्यापि तस्यान्ते नाभ्यामुपरि तिष्ठति ज्वालमालाकुलं भाति विश्वस्यायतनं महत् सन्ततगुं शिलाभिस्तुलं पत्याघोषसङ्गीतं तस्यान्ते सुषिरगुं सूक्ष्मं तस्मिन् सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं तस्य मध्ये महानग्निर्विश्वार्चिर्विश्वतोमुखः सोऽग्रभुग्विभजन् तिष्ठन्नाहारमजरः कविः तेजपूर्वमदर्शायी रश्मयस्तस्य सन्तता सन्तापयति शवं देहमापादतलमस्तकः तस्य मध्ये वह्निशिखा अणीयोऽप्यवस्थितः नीलतो यदमध्यस्तात् विद्युल्लेखेव भास्वरा नीवारशूकवत्तन्वी पीताभास्वत्यनुपमा तस्या आशिकाया मध्ये परमा आत्मा व्यवस्थितः स ब्रह्म स शिवः स हरिसेन्द्रसोऽक्षरः परमस्वराट् हृदयं सत्यं परं ब्रह्म पुरुषं कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतं विरूपाक्षं विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात् विष्णोर्नुकं वीर्याणि प्रवोचं यः पार्थिवाणि ममेरजागुं धियो अस्कभाय दुत्तरगुं सदस्तं विचक्रमाणस्त्रेदोरुगायो विष्णोरराटमसि विष्णो अपृष्टमसि विष्णो स्यप्त्रे एस्तो विष्णो स्योरसि विष्णो ध्रुवमसि वैष्णवमसि विष्णवे त्वा ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ
हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि 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 बोले, हरि 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 बोले। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता। हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता, हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि 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 बोले, हरि 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 बोले। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि पिता हरि माता, पिता हरि हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता। हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञानदाता। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल। दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ। 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 दुर्गे दुर्गे जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, दुर्गे जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, दुर्गे जय जय माँ। करुणा सागरी माँ, करुणा सागरी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ। जय दुर्गे जय जय माँ, जय दुर्गे जय जय माँ, अम्बा दुर्गे जय जय माँ, दुर्गे जय जय माँ, दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ, दुर्गे 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 जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, दुर्गे जय जय माँ, जय माँ, जय माँ, दुर्गे जय जय माँ। करुणा सागरी माँ, करुणा सागरी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, कालिका पालिनी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ, जगदोधारिणी माँ। जय दुर्गे जय जय माँ, जय दुर्गे जय जय माँ, अम्बा दुर्गे जय जय माँ, अम्बा दुर्गे जय जय माँ।
वाणीश्वराय नरकारणोद्धारणाय ज्ञानप्रदाय करुणामय सागराय कर्पूरपुत्रधवलीशाधराय राजकेशवरनाय शिवाय।
अनित्यदृश्येषु विवेच्य नित्यम् तस्मिन् समाधत्त इह स्मरीलया विवेकवैराग्य विशुद्धचित्तम् Yoso viveki tamaham namami. Vivekajalandanimagna chittam Vivekadanaika vinodashilam Vivekabhasan kavaniyakanti Vivekinam tam Satatam namami. Ritam cha vijnanamadhishrayatyam Nirantaram chadimadhyantahinam Sukham surupam prakaroti asya Anandamurtiyam tamaham namami. Suryo yathatham hitamo nihanti Vishnur yathadushtajanan shinanti Tathaiva yasyakhila netra lobham Rupam tripapam vimukhi karoti Tam deshikendram paramam pavitram Vishvasya param madhurayatindram Hitaya nunam naramurtimantam Viveka anandamaham Viveka anandamaham namami Viveka anandamaham namami Navashri atirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Oh
গোচর আমার মানস গোচর বুঝে প্রাণ বুঝে নাহি সূর্য নাহি জ্যোতি নাহি সূর্য নাহি জ্যোতি নাহি শশাঙ্ক সুন্দর ভাষ্যে ছায়া ছবি বিশ্ব চরাচর নাহি সূর্য নাহি জ্যোতি নাহি সূর্য নাহি জ্যোতি নাহি সূর্য নাহি জ্যোতি চির আনন্দ বিবেকানন্দ তোমারে করি প্রণাম তোমারে করি প্রণাম হে চির আনন্দ বিবেকানন্দ তোমারে করি প্রণাম তোমারে করি প্রণাম দত্ত ভবনে এসেছিলে তুমি নিয়ে নরেন্দ্র নাম তোমারে করি প্রণাম হে চির আনন্দ বিবেকানন্দ তোমারে করি প্রণাম পিতা বিশ্বনাথ মাতা ভুবনেশ্বরী ডাকিত তোমারে বিলু নাম ধরি পিতা বিশ্বনাথ মাতা ভুবনেশ্বরী ডাকিত তোমারে বিলু নাম ধরি তব চপলতা লাগি কত প্রিয়জন হইতো যে তারাবাম তোমারে করি প্রণাম হে চির আনন্দ বিবেকানন্দ তোমারে করি প্রণাম তোমারে করি প্রণাম সেদিন তখনও ভাবেনি জননী মানবের তরে এসেছেন ধরণী, সেদিন তখনও ভাবেনি জননী। মানবের তরে এসেছেন ধরণী, এসেছেন শম্ভু তার গৃহ কোণে। হাড়ি কৈলাস ধাম, তোমারে করি প্রণাম। হে চির আনন্দ বিবেকানন্দ, তোমারে করি প্রণাম। তোমারে করি প্রণাম, তোমারে করি প্রণাম, তোমারে করি প্রণাম। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ ছাড়া মন রে আমার মূল হারাবি, মানুষ ছাড়া খেপারে তুই মূল হারাবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। হৃদলে মৃণালে সোনার মানুষ জলে, হৃদলে মৃণালে সোনার মানুষ জলে। মানুষ গুরু কৃপা হলে জানতে পাবি, মানুষ গুরু কৃপা হলে জানতে পাবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষেই মানুষে গাথা, গাছে যেমন আলেকে লতা। মানুষেই মানুষে গাথা, গাছে যেমন আলেকে লতা। জেনে শুনে মোড়াও মাথা যাতে তরবি, জেনে শুনে মোড়াও মাথা যাতে তরবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ ছাড়া মনে রে আমার গিরে শূন্যকার, মানুষ ছাড়া মনে রে আমার পড়িবে রে তুই শূন্যকার। তালন বলে মানুষ আকারে ভজলে তরবি, তালন বলে মানুষ আকারে ভজলে তরবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি, মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি। মানুষ বদলে সোনার মানুষ হবি।
शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो भो 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 शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो गंगाधर शंकर करुणाकर गंगाधर शंकर करुणाकर गंगाधर शंकर करुणाकर मम भवसागर तारक गंगाधर शंकर करुणाकर मम भवसागर तारक शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो भो शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो निगुण परब्रह्म स्वरूप गम गम भूत प्रपंच रहित निगुण परब्रह्म स्वरूप गम गम भूत प्रपंच रहित निज गुह निहित नितांत अनंत निज गुह निहित नितांत अनंत आनंद अतिशय अक्षय लिंग निज गुह निहित नितांत अनंत आनंद अतिशय अक्षय लिंग शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो शंभो शिव शंभो स्वयंभो धिमि 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 किट किट तोम तोम तरि किट किट तो धिमि 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 किट तोम 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 तरि किट तो मतंग मुनिवर वंदित ईशा सर्वधिगंबर वेष्टित वेशा नित्य निरंजन नित्य नटेशा धिमि 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 किट तोम 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 तरि किट तो मतंग मुनिवर वंदित ईशा सर्वधिगंबर वेष्टित वेशा नित्य निरंजन नृत्य नटेश ईशा सदेशा सर्वेशा भो Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho Shiva Shambho Swayambho. Namaste Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharini. Namaste everyone. We are all gathered here to celebrate the birthday of Swami Vivekananda. Today I will be narrating a few incidences from the life of Swami Vivekananda. The lives of great people are by themselves teachings that we should emulate or follow. We had a Swami Niramayanandaji. I had seen him. He was the head of our center in Mumbai and editor of the Bengali magazine as well. So he said, while I was at Belur Mutt, that is where our headquarters is, I heard that Miss Josephine MacLeod was staying at the guest house. Now Josephine MacLeod was one of the devotees at whose house Swamiji initially stayed when he went to the West, and she became a sort of a disciple
but I will come to that a little later. I will read out what the narration of the Swami. One evening, I went to see her. This must be in 1945. A 90-year-old lady was seated on a rocking chair, covering herself with a shawl. It was winter. As soon as I offered my respects to her, she said, "The people think I am an old lady, but I am 45 years old." Do you know why? I consider the day I met Swamiji, that is Vivekananda, the day I met him as my real birthday. She met him first on 29th of January 1895. As she said these words, this lady, whose eyesight was poor, but yet there was a bright look in her eyes, whose skin had wrinkled, yet looked childlike. She tried to sit straight, and a wonderful smile lit her face. She then continued her conversation and said, "They," that is, the devotees, "refer to me as a disciple of Swamiji." But no, he used to address me as friend. You know, I love those who love Swamiji. That's why I come here to India year after year. Then the Swami Ramayanji says, as I looked at her in wonder, she asked me, "Now, tell me, what do you want to know about Swamiji?" I said, "Can you please describe Swamiji in one sentence?" The majestic lady startled at this question. She then said, "I had asked the same question to Swamiji. I asked him to describe his Guru, Sri Ramakrishna. I asked him to describe him in brief. I will repeat to you his answer to my question." Swamiji said, "Not only was he," meaning Sri Ramakrishna, "was holy, but he was holiness itself." He was the embodiment of holiness. I will repeat the same answer to you about Swamiji. He was purity itself. Further, he was the embodiment of strength and courage. He was the sum total of all that is noble and good. Indeed, Swamiji was purity itself. It is said that after the passing away of Swami Vivekananda's father, Vishwanath Datta, there were a lot of legal issues and other issues at home, and he did not have a job. He was searching for a job everywhere, and he befriended some people who were known to be not of such a good character. So he used to go to them and spend a lot of time with them. So some of Sri Ramakrishna's devotees came to Sri Ramakrishna and said, "Naren has gone wayward. He has lost his way. He is mixing up with all sorts of undesirable people, so he is not good." As soon as Sri Ramakrishna heard this, he immediately said, "Get away, you fools. Yaswala Shalana. Get away, you fools. The Divine Mother has showed me that Naren can never be impure. He is purity itself. Later, when Swamiji was in America, when he first gave the talk at the Parliament of Religions, one of the ladies, middle-aged ladies, saw how after his talk, women, especially young women, used to climb the benches just to come and shake his hands. And she says, I said to myself at this, young lad, if you can resist this, I will call you a god. And she later said, I indeed had to call him God. Christina Albers, another great admirer of Swamiji, writes in her reminiscences. I will read it out. She says, I met Swami Vivekananda in San Francisco and in California. It was at a lecture in the year 1900. The Swami arrived some 20 minutes before the lecture and was engaged in conversation with some friends. I sat at a short distance from him and was very deeply interested, for I felt he was one who had something to give to me. The conversation was of the ordinary nature, and yet I felt a peculiar force emanating from him. See, this person did not have any exposure to spiritual life, anything to do with Hinduism, but the first time when she saw him and as he started speaking, she felt that particular force emanating from Swamiji. Swamiji's health was poor at that time, and when he rose to go to the platform, it seemed an effort on his part. He walked with a heavy gait. I noticed that his eyelids were swollen, and he looked like one who suffers pain. He stood for a while in silence before he spoke. That was very typical of Swamiji. He would sit for a few minutes in silence and he would pray to the master, and then he would start the lecture and words would flow in torrents from his lips. I saw a change as he opened his eyes. His countenance brightened, and I thought his very features were different now. He began to speak, and there was a transformation, a great change. The soul force of the great man became visible. I felt the tremendous force of his speech, words that were felt more than they were heard. See, it's not just the words that were uttered, but feeling. I was drawn into a sea of being, of feelings of a higher existence, from which it seemed almost like pain to emerge when the lecture was finished. And then those eyes, how wonderful. They were like shooting stars, lights shooting forth from them in constant flashes. Over 30 years have elapsed since the day, but the memory of it is evergreen in my heart and will remain so. His years on earth were not many. Swamiji was only 39 when he passed away. He had said that I will not see 40. But what are years when the value of a life is weighed, unknown, and ignored, He entered the lecture hall of the great metropolis of Chicago in 1893. He left that hall an adored hero. He spoke. It was enough. The depth of his great being, great soul, had sounded forth, and the world felt the vibration. One single man changed the current thought of half the globe. That was his work. The body is subject to decay, she continues. The great strain put upon him weighed on the physical. His work was done. Scarcely 40 years of life on earth, but they were 40 years that outweighed centuries. In fact, he had once said, "What I have given is good enough for the next 500 years." He was sent from higher regions to fulfill a great mission, and that mission being fulfilled, he returned to his seal among the gods from whence he had come. Sri Ramakrishna had said that Naren is one of the Saptarshis, 7 sages. In our mythology, in Hindu mythology, we have this mention of the 7 sages who guard the people or the whole universe. And for this age, it is said that these 7 rishis are Atri, Bharadwaja, Gautama, Jamadagni, Kashyapa, Vashishta, and Vishwamitra. These are known to be the 7 rishis, Sapta rishis. See, even in the sky we see the Saptarshi Mandala, the great pair. Those who know a little bit about astronomy, you see that 7 stars over there. And Sri Ramakrishna narrated this vision that he had. It's not just a dream, it is a vision. He said, "One day I found that my mind was soaring high in samadhi along a luminous path. It soon transcended the stellar universe and entered the subtler region of ideas, Bhava Rajya it's called. As it ascended higher and higher, I found on both sides of the way ideal forms of gods and goddesses. The mind then reached the outer limits of that region, where a luminous barrier separated the sphere of relative existence from that of the absolute. Crossing that barrier, that means the mind entered the transcendental realm where no corporeal being was visible. Even the gods dared not peep into that sublime realm, but had to be content to keep their seats far below. The next moment I found 7 sages seated there in samadhi. It occurred to me that these sages must have surpassed not only men, but even the gods in knowledge and holiness, in renunciation and love. Lost in admiration, I was reflecting on their greatness when I saw a portion of the undifferentiated luminous region condense into a form of a divine child. The child came to one of the sages, tenderly clasped his neck with his lovely little arms. Just imagine, it's a small child coming and putting his arms on your neck. So he found this child, put his little arms around his neck, and addressing him in a sweet voice, attempted to drag his mind down from the state of samadhi. The magic touch roused the sage from his superconscious state, and he fixed his unmoving, half-open gaze upon that wonderful child. This strange child said to him, to the Saptarshi, I am going down. You too must go with me. The sage remained mute, did not speak, but his tender look expressed his assent. As he kept gazing on the child, he was again immersed in samadhi. I was surprised to find that a fragment of the sage's body and mind was descending on earth in the form of an effulgent light. No sooner had I seen Naren than I recognized him to be that sage. When Sri Ramakrishna was asked, he said that the divine child was himself. Swami Vivekananda was the very personification of strength. I'll narrate to you an incident from the life of Swamiji as a young child. Swami, he was full of fearlessness and strength. Once, he and his friends wished to set up a trapeze in the gymnasium. And so he asked the help of some people who were gathered over there. Among them was an English sailor. The trapeze fell and knocked the sailor unconscious. And the crowd, thinking him dead, ran away for fear of the police, because it was the days when India was ruled by the British. So anything bad that was happening to, that would happen to an Englishman would be considered a great calamity and a crime. So the trapeze fell and he became unconscious and everybody ran away. But the little boy Naren stayed. He tore a piece from his dhoti, from his cloth, and then bandaged the sailor's wound, washed his face with water and gradually revived him. Then he moved the wounded man to a neighboring schoolhouse where he nursed him for a week. When the sailor had recovered, Naren collected some money from his friends and gave him a little purse and gave it to the sailor. He was Swami Vivekananda is the personification of strength, I said. I will narrate you an incident. This was 1985. I was in Mumbai, Bombay, in our ashram. I was posted there. And I used to look after the book sales department. We had a very large bookstall over there. I was looking after it. And I saw that one young man, he was from Kerala. So he used to come. Every day he would come, take some book from the bookstall, and he would keep on browsing and reading it. And he would do it day after day. He was coming. So I casually asked him who he was, what his name is, etc., and what he is doing. So as he started warming up to me, I naturally asked what he was doing. He said, Maharaj, that's how we are addressed as, when we are brahmacharis, we are addressed as Maharaj. Maharaj, I am from Kerala, so I am here to look for a job. I said, what did you study? Well, I did my master's, etc. And I was being trained to become an IAS officer. Those who are from India, they know how difficult it is to become an Indian administrative service officer. They have to write a very competitive examination, and then very few get the place to study there or to become the officers. So he was being trained in Dehradun in North India. And he said, I had been to Dehradun and I was being trained, but suddenly a great fear overtook me. I said, I cannot do this, I cannot do this. So when the session broke for vacation, I came away and I am not going back. I cannot do this kind of a job. I cannot take all these responsibilities. I cannot study. It's intensive study and all that. So I just heard it and I just didn't respond to him that day. When he came back the very next day, I held his hand and took him to the garden there in Mumbai, where we have a bust of Swami Vivekananda. Those who have been to Mumbai ashram, they know there is a bust of Swami Vivekananda, and his eyes are very, very expressive, very piercing look in his eyes. And I told him, look here, my friend, come here every day for the next 7 days. I just said 7 days. Come here, stand here for 15 minutes. Look at the eyes of Swami Vivekananda. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to think. Just look at the eyes of Swamiji. And you go back. So he came, but the good thing was that he was very obedient. Even though I was very young compared to him, I was probably the same age as him. He said he used to come every day and he would stand there for 15 minutes and would look at the eyes of Swamiji. On the 7th day, he came back to me at the bookstall and said, Maharaj, I am going back to Dehradun. I said, wow, what happened? He said, you asked me to look into the eyes of Swamiji. Swamiji's eyes are full of strength and fearlessness. As I started doing what you asked me to do, I felt a great strength overcoming me, and then I became fearless. So thank you for helping me. I am going away. So even this form of Swamiji, just the eyes of Swamiji is enough for one to bring in that fearlessness and strength. Swamiji was extremely compassionate. I will narrate to you 1 or 2 incidences. His heart would bleed for the poor. One of it is by Viraja Devi, Edith Allen, an American lady. She writes, I used to stay after the class, after Swamiji gave the class, and helped him to cook lunch, etc. Or rather, he allowed me to be in the kitchen with him and do odd jobs for him while he talked Vedanta and chanted and cooked. One verse from the Gita he chanted a great deal, always. It is verse 61 in chapter 18. And it reads like this. Ishvaraha sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati pramayan sarvabhutani yantra arudhani mayaya. The Lord dwells in the hearts of all beings, O Arjuna, by his elusive power, that is Maya, causing all beings to revolve. We are all puppets. Revolve as though mounted on a potter's wheel. He chanted it in Sanskrit, and every now and then he would stop and talk about this topic. He was so wonderful. His nature, so many-sided, multi-sided, at times so childlike, at times the Vedanta lion, but to me always the kind and loving parent. He told me not to call him Swami, but call him Babaji, as the children did in India. Once, when walking along the street with Swamiji after a lecture, all at once he seemed to be so big, as though he towered above the ordinary mortals, became large. The people on the street looked like pygmies, and he had such a majestic presence that people stepped aside to let him pass by. One evening after the lecture, Swamiji insisted upon taking a party of about 10 or 12 of us to have ice cream. Some ordered ice cream and some ice cream soda. Swamiji was fond of ice cream but did not care for cream soda. The waitress who took the order made a mistake and brought ice cream soda for the Swami. She said she would change it for him. The proprietor spoke to the waitress about it, that is warning. And when Swamiji heard him, he called out, "Don't you scold that poor girl. I will take the ice cream soda I will take all the ice cream soda if you are going to scold her." And Swamiji became identified with the universe as a knower of Brahman would do. And there is another incident. One day, he was walking along a road in Darjeeling, enjoying the beauty of the hills along a few others after his breakfast. All of a sudden, he saw in a mental vision a Bhutia woman, the hill tribe, Bhutia woman, with a heavy load on her back, slip, fall, and sustain some injury. Others accompanying him did not see the incident at all. The attendants were young and inexperienced and did not know his moods of his superconscious state. Swamiji kept his eyes fixed on some distant object, something very far, and could not move even an inch further. Slowly his face became pale and he cried out in pain, "Oh, I feel great pain here and I cannot walk any further." Someone asked, "Where do you feel the pain, Swamiji?" He pointed to his side and said, "It is here. Did you see that woman fall?" The youth, who could not understand anything, thought it queer that the Swami should feel the pain of the Bhutia woman at all. But none dared to say anything. Time taught them the great significance of this episode when they learned that a great sympathetic relation exists between man and man, and with these God-men who feel and visualize the feelings of others at a distance. We find a similar feeling or incident in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in the western porch of his room in Dakshineshwar, and he saw that two boatsmen were quarreling. Their boats were on the Ganges, and they were quarreling with each other. As their quarrel grew louder and louder, it turned into blows. So one of the sailors, one of the boatsmen, he heavily gave a slap on the back of the other boatsman. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna was looking at it. Immediately Sri Ramakrishna felt a great pain, and he cried out in great pain. Sri Ramakrishna generally would not wear many clothes, and he had a bare upper body. And just at that time, Hriday, his nephew, came running, listening, hearing this cry of Sri Ramakrishna. And as he came, he saw that there was a palm mark on the back of Sri Ramakrishna, red palm mark. And Hriday became very angry. And he said, "Uncle, who is it that has hit you? Show me, and I am going to break his neck." And he could even do that because he was a very well-built person. Sri Ramakrishna came down from that state and he said, "Look here, Ridu." That's how he used to address him, "Ridu, nobody hit me, but I saw these two boatsmen quarreling amongst themselves, and I was in an exalted mood, and one of them hit the other, and that's why his pain is felt in this body." See what is the feeling of these great knowers of Brahman. Swamiji could also learn anything. For example, painting and art. To return to the art of painting, the root of the word chitra, chitra means an artwork or a painting. Chitra, a picture. The root of the word chitra is heart, chit. Whatever manifests the chit before us is picture. As soon as the Swami turned inwards into the chit akasha, the space eternal, all the principles and the principle of an art and its expression came to his vision. He would at once know the intricacies of art, and all the pictures that he had ever seen would focus themselves in his mind. He would very often say, "If I see a thing, it goes down into the subconscious region of the mind and again comes out on the conscious plane when thus required." And he also said, "If I meditate on the brain of Shankara, that is Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, I become a Shankara. If I meditate on the brain of a Buddha," brain means here not the physical brain, but this is the consciousness, "I become Buddha when I meditate upon him. Even the thoughts and subjects that never occurred to me before would all come before me when I concentrate on a particular object, and I could visualize all of them, so that I go on speaking whatever I feel, forgetting myself. As all of you know, I have no learning and am a simple man." This is Swami Vivekananda saying this. He demonstrated this in England while he lectured there. Swamiji also did not care for any public opinion. Mrs. Alice M. Hansbrough of Pasadena, Los Angeles, she writes, "In connection with the work, I always saw him before and after the lectures and classes. I remember one evening when we were going home after a lecture, he asked me how I had liked it. He had been very outspoken that evening in criticism of the West. And I said that I had enjoyed the lecture, but feared that he sometimes antagonized the audience. He smiled as if that meant nothing to him. "Ma'am," he said, "I have cleared whole halls of New York by his outspokenness." She further said, "I think the finest gesture I ever saw him make was in connection with a rumor of scandal which arose about him while he was in Los Angeles. See, because he became so very famous, the missionaries, Christian missionaries, attacked him right, front, left, from every portion, and unfortunately some of his own countrymen from Bengal were the ones who just could not bear him. So they used to spread all sorts of rumors saying that Swamiji was of a very bad character and he mixed with women and so on and so forth. So all of these, some of the newspaper tabloids used to carry all of these news. One professor, Baumgart, came to see Swamiji one morning, and the subject of this rumor came up in conversation. They had heard of it, but they knew his character, so they thought nothing of it. We were all seated in the dining room except Swamiji, who was walking slowly up and down the room. Finally, he said, "Well, what I am is written on my brow. If you can read it, you are blessed. If you cannot, the loss is yours, not mine." As I earlier said, Sri Ramakrishna never believed in all the rumors about him. And Swamiji wrote to Shashi Maharaj, Swami Ramakrishnananda, his brother disciples, one of his brother disciples, and he quoted from Kalidasa's Kumara Sambhava. It's a Sanskrit book. And of course he changed it a little bit. He says, "Upekshitavyam tad vachanam bhavat sattashanam mahatmanam api kitadamshana bhiruka vayam Ramakrishna tanayaha tad hridaya rudiraposhita aloka samanyam achintya hetukam indanti mandas charitam mahatmanam." Great men like you, he addresses Swami Ramakrishnananda, great men like you should pay no heed to what he says. Shall we, the children of Sri Ramakrishna, nourished with his heart's blood, be afraid of worm bites? The wicked criticize the conduct of the magnanimous, which is extraordinary and whose motives are difficult to fathom. Never remember all of these and forgive this fool, he writes. And she further says, "I am amazed at his grace," Swamiji himself says. "I am amazed at his grace. Whichever town I visit, it is an uproar. They have named me the cyclonic Hindu." Remember, it is his will. I am a voice without a form. He is working through many, many people. Mrs. Hansborough said, he came with a mandate. You have heard that Christ said, "My words are spirit and they are life." He pointed his finger at me and declared, "So are my words spirit and life, and they will burn their way into your brain and you will never get away from them." It is indeed so. Those who have read Swamiji, the fiery words of Swamiji, will never go back unscathed. He is always there. And he used to say that whoever reads these words of mine will imbibe my spirit, Swamiji says. In his final days, he became aware of his limited time that was left on earth. He was moved to practice more meditation and contemplation on the deepest spiritual truths. He wrote from Belur Mutt in 1902, "I am making ready for death. A great tapasya and meditation has come upon me, and I am making ready for death. Once he was very eager to have Kalpa Samadhi, and he pestered Sri Ramakrishna to no end. Sri Ramakrishna said, it will all happen in due course. Why are you so restless? But he was a restless person. So Swamiji, Sri Ramakrishna yielded, and with his touch, he gave this experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi to Swamiji, and he remained in that state for quite some time. And when he came down to the normal consciousness, Sri Ramakrishna, he saw that Sri Ramakrishna was passing his hand over his chest, come down, come down. And then he said, well, you have had the Nirvikalpa Samadhi experience, isn't it? Yes. Now that you have got it, I am locking it in a safe, and I will keep the key with me. And when the time is ripe, I will unlock this safe. And indeed, the time came on July 4th, 1902, when the lock was opened. Swamiji writes later, no more Hari Om, it is all Mother. Now, he said with a smile, all my patriotism is gone, everything is gone, now it's only Ma, Mother, Mother. And he narrated an incident at Kshir Bhavani in Kashmir. Swamiji had gone to this temple of Kshir Bhavani, and there he saw that this temple was destroyed by the Muslim invaders. And he said, he spoke to the Divine Mother, Mother, how could these people commit such sacrilege? If I were here at that time, I would have laid down my life to protect you. And then Mother, the Divine Mother, spoke, and he says, the Mother said to me, what? Even if unbelievers should enter my temples and defile my images, what is that to you? Do you protect me, or do I protect you? See, there is no more patriotism. I am only a little child. This is a great lesson that we need to imbibe from Swamiji's life. Do we do anything, or does the Divine do anything, everything? If we are convinced that the Divine is the one who does everything and we are just a mere instrument, then we do not complain. It is because we think we are doing that it is our ego that is making us do it. It is then that all the trials and tribulations of life comes. But a time should come in one's life when we should come to this conclusion that ultimately whatever happens is the will of the Divine. It is the Divine who is doing it. So on this holy occasion of Swami Vivekananda's birthday, let us sit for a few minutes, meditate upon Swamiji, meditate upon the Divine, pray to the Divine, so that we become fit instruments in their hands. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. 5 minutes of meditation. We will afterwards have the Arati and Pushpanjali. सर्वधर्म स्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्म स्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। यथाग्नि दाहिका शक्ति रामकृष्णे स्थिता हिया सर्वविद्या स्वरूपां तां शारदां प्रणमाम्यहं। परतत्त्वे सदा लीनो रामकृष्ण समाज्ञया यो धर्म स्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्। एष सचन्दन पत्र पुष्पाञ्जलिः सांगाय सावर्णाय सशक्तिकाय सपार्षदाय सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय श्रीरामकृष्णाय वौषट्। ॐ निरञ्जनं नित्यं अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पा धृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमीढ्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः। We come and place the flowers on the trees. After the offering, please go downstairs and accept the prasad there.
ওকে বলো না প্রদীপটা একটু দিতে, আমি তাপ নিয়ে নেব। তুমি নিয়ে নাও, উপরে যেও।
There is ashram. I was the one who put it on there. Whenever you go to the sometimes yeah.
It's a very important festival today, Makar Sankranti.
Yeah, that one goes in the stick goes in the right hand side bottom piece. It's a plastic tray. Yep. That's it. Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, even better. Yeah, we need to finish with No matter where you go, they'll find you. No matter where you go, they'll find you. That'd be fun to read. Oh yeah, you might be kind of
Oh, I just found it. Just started. No, nobody downstairs will hear it. We are up here, nobody below. Namaste, Namaste.
Yes.
Is this the
No, sir, volunteer.
is he on holidays?
Yes.
So one? Of course, like,
It's not a good religion, but they kill people who aren't Islam.
there's still a good religion. People are best.
Islam is a philosophy. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm alright.
So yes, sir.
Is it still filming? Yeah, it is. It's finished now.
Wherever he is,
Still alive, still walking, still waiting.
no matter where he stands.
Yes, there's a long queue here. Long queue, that's not that I meant. Long queue. How are you? The other day, I brought a mommy and we went for a walk and then Swami was okay. All that, the garden, which is not integrated. One set of we are coming from Sydney. So you were talking to Swami on phone, you couldn't find the place. Yes, exactly. So from that point straight away, we have come here because you say it's 1 o'clock.
We just finished our food. There's lunch being served downstairs, so please come help us. Yes, Swami Vivekananda.
That's the reason.
So we did the food. Just finished, you missed it by maybe 10 minutes.
Because we were going around and around. So Swami was serving Charmada and he was talking.
No problem. Please join us.
And we should be back with my friend Tamara. She's from Brisbane.
So at least the very least enjoy our lunch.
Better. Can I sit for a few minutes?
Yes.
This will be down right for a Last couple of days, but yeah, I think that we are very enough to. They are happy. We have to accept that.
Now that you cleaned up your living.
I saw you the other day, maybe a week back, in the afternoon, you were on your plan. Somewhere else, near the school. Yeah, yeah. Look, the models look great. Yeah. Those are brown. That's good. We are getting enough rain. Yeah. He was getting. Yeah, I don't know. Rain,